We hear it all the time. If something isn't working, especially when it comes to our work, our business, our lifestyle, they say just pivot, just make a change, just try something else. But what no one actually talks about is why that feels so impossible to do. Easy to say, but so impossible to do. It's not just about making a career change or switching paths. Sometimes the hardest thing to admit is not that it isn't working, it's not that it doesn't feel right anymore. It's actually that we don't know who we are without it. So when you're in a job or a career or a business, that's been your identity for so long. So the thought of making a big change, let alone leaving, feels like losing yourself completely. So we just end up staying, even when we know we shouldn't. The thing is, we don't just actually fear failure. We fear losing our identity. That's why so many people stay stuck in jobs, businesses, or careers that aren't working, because walking away doesn't just feel like giving up. It feels like losing a part of yourself. Have you ever felt stuck in a job, a business, or a career knowing that deep down, that it's not working, but still so terrified to walk away? Maybe it's because you've spent years building it. Maybe it's because this is all you've ever known. Or maybe it's because if you actually do let it go, end up changing, you're afraid of losing who you are. And if that's you, I want you to know something, that you're not alone, right? This is one of the biggest fears that keeps people stuck. Because when we've spent so much time, energy, and money into something, letting go feels impossible. And I get it. I really do, because I've been there. I've spent years pursuing a career in real estate, pouring my heart and soul into making it work. I did everything that I thought I was supposed to do. I invested in coaching, countless courses and programs and trainings and seminars, you name it. I even dove deep into the mindset work, just the mindset work, trying to fix or elevate whatever mental block was holding me back, what I thought was holding me back. But no matter how hard I pushed, something just always felt off. Nothing was clicking, because the daily grind of cold calls, prospecting, and sales tactics went against my personality when it came to being a real estate agent. I was great at connecting with people, though. That I loved. But the rest of it just actually drained the life out of me. And yet I stayed, because the idea of walking away was so terrifying, because I invested so much time, money, energy into it. And I kept thinking to myself, okay, if I do end up walking away, and if I'm no longer a real estate agent, then who am I? See, from the time we're kids, we're asked these questions. What do you want to be when you grow up? Or what's your dream job? Or even when you get older, right? The only thing that's asked of us is, what do you do for a living? And over time, we actually do end up start tying who we are to what we do. And that's why so many of us struggle to let go of a job or a career, even when it's making us miserable. Because it's not just about leaving a job. It feels like leaving a part of ourselves. But here's the truth. Your identity is not your job title. You are more than your work. And I see this all the time with professionals, with executives who's miserable, but just completely terrified to start over because this is all they've known. Well, a business owner who's built a company from the ground up for years and just decides to stay in it. Why? Because even though they hate it, they just can't imagine their life without it. Or how about, let's just say, for example, a burnt out doctor, a teacher, or a lawyer who've just spent years in school and now feels kind of trapped by the investment that they made, all those time, all those money. And it's so common, and I get why. You see, when you've spent so much time, money, and effort on something, the thought of walking away feels like throwing it all away. which, by the way, is a real psychological phenomenon called the sunk cost fallacy. And I really deep dived into that in my previous video, and I'll link that here. But here's what I've learned and what I'd like to share with you. Staying in something that drains you isn't loyalty. It's actually a slow form of self-destruction. Walking away from something misaligned isn't failure. Okay, it's actually the first step towards real success, because true success isn't about how much effort you put in. I want to repeat that again. True success isn't about how much effort you put in. It's about whether the effort that you are putting in is actually aligned with who you are. So if your job, career, or business doesn't fit you, where it's not allowing you to leverage who you actually are, and if you're terrified to let go, here's what I want you to know, and what I'd like to just share with you, is that you are not your job, you are not your career, you are not your business. Your real identity, the core of who you are, goes beyond your job title. And it's found in your strengths, your passions, your personality. And when you step into a path that aligns with these, everything shifts. It really does. Because you no longer have to force yourself to fit into a role that drains you or that forces you to use up all of your energy. Instead, you find work that leverage your natural strengths. So success starts feeling natural instead of forced. But how do you actually start? Just kind of do a little quick exercise here. I want you to imagine yourself just 5 years from now, okay? But instead of stepping into alignment, you're actually still in the same job. You're still in the same career, or you're in the same situation feeling stuck, completely drained out and overwhelmed. I want you to ask yourself, how does that feel? Does it energize you or does it drain you? How does that feel? Because if the thought of staying where you are for another 5 more years makes your stomach turn, that's not just frustration. That's actually your intuition telling you something just isn't right. Now, I'm not saying to quit your job overnight. What I am saying is to just take one small step today. Number one, you're already doing it. You're listening to this video, and hopefully my message is coming through, where just being aware that effort isn't enough if you're completely misaligned. You might also want to look for ways to tweak your current role so that it works more with you instead of against you. Because once you stop forcing yourself into something that doesn't fit, you'll finally have the energy to move forward towards something that does, just energizes you. And you'll be able to align yourself where you can thrive. This leads me to something I really want to talk about in the next video, because we've all been told that hard work is the key to success. But I have been saying over and over that hard work is not enough to achieve true sustainable success, because hard work alone will never fix misalignment. So in my next video, I'm going to break down why 2 people can work just as hard, but one of them thrives while the other struggles. So if you've ever felt like you're putting in the effort, but nothing is working, nothing is clicking, then that video is for you, and I'll see you there.